The sun had set, casting an eerie glow over the deserted highway that wound through the dense forest. The only sound was the whisper of the wind through the trees and the occasional hoot of an owl. Most people avoided this stretch of road after dark, but 25-year-old Sarah had no choice but to drive along it that night. Sarah's car crept along the winding road, her knuckles white as she gripped the steering wheel. She had heard the stories about the haunted highway, tales of phantom hitchhikers and ghostly figures that appeared in the middle of the road, causing accidents and disappearances. But she had always dismissed them as superstition. As she drove, Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The forest seemed to press in on either side of her, the darkness swallowing everything in its path. Suddenly, she saw something up ahead, a figure standing at the side of the road, their back turned to her. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she slowed down, her eyes fixed on the shadowy figure. As she drew closer, she could make out more details. The figure was dressed in old-fashioned clothing, a shroud of mist swirling around them. A sense of unease crept over Sarah as she approached, her mind racing with fear and curiosity. Without warning, the figure turned to face her, revealing a pale, ghostly face that seemed to glow in the darkness. Sarah gasped, her foot instinctively slamming on the brake. The car screeched to a halt as the figure reached out a spectral hand towards her. Panic surged through Sarah as she fumbled for the door handle, her heart pounding in her ears. She managed to wrench open the door and bolt from the car, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She stumbled into the undergrowth, the sounds of the highway fading into the distance. Lost in the dark forest, Sarah's mind raced with fear and confusion. She could still see the ghostly figure in her mind's eye, its haunting gaze burning into her soul. She knew she had to find her way back to the highway, back to safety. As she stumbled through the undergrowth, a faint light appeared in the distance. Hope surged through Sarah as she made her way towards it, pushing through branches and thorns. Finally, she emerged back onto the highway, her car still sitting at the side of the road. Shaking with adrenaline, Sarah climbed back into her car and sped away, leaving the haunted highway far behind her. But the memory of the ghostly figure stayed with her, haunting her dreams and filling her with a sense of dread. Weeks passed, but Sarah could not shake the feeling of unease that had settled over her since that night. She became obsessed with the haunted highway, scouring newspapers and online forums for any mention of the ghostly figure she had encountered. One day, as she was driving home from work, she saw something that made her blood run cold. Up ahead, standing at the side of the road, was the same ghostly figure she had encountered that fateful night. This time, it beckoned to her, its pale face twisted in a silent plea. Driven by a mixture of fear and curiosity, Sarah pulled over and approached the figure. As she drew closer, she saw a look of recognition in its eyes, a sense of connection that sent shivers down her spine. And then, in a flash of insight, Sarah realized the truth: the ghostly figure was not there to harm her, but to warn her. Warn her of the dangers that lurked on the haunted highway, of the dark secrets that lay buried beneath its surface. With a newfound sense of purpose, Sarah vowed to uncover the mysteries of the haunted highway, to bring peace to the restless spirits that haunted its winding roads. And as she delved deeper into the secrets of the highway, she discovered that the truth was far more terrifying than any ghost story could ever be.